Let's tighten up with P Shark. As title says, if y'all see the title, it does say farewell to Let's Tighten Up Pod. That's because this is the final episode of for this specific podcast. First up, for everybody who's probably watching on YouTube, if y'all see me like my arms disappearing and stuff in the background, it's because I am kind of in the process of moving. So all my stuff is taken down. Well, yeah, in the process of looking to sell and buy a new home. So took all my stuff down, took a picture. So this is just background up right now for those who are wondering. But yeah, this is a funny episode. Don't know how to explain. I didn't really get a fair warning to anybody. Thought about reaching out to people who I know tunes into the show, everybody who does tune in and everything, but figured I just make one last final video. What I probably do is for all my guests that I've had on the interview portions, I probably like post those up. I'm not going to delete the page or anything. That way, all the stuff is still archived, is still out there, no matter what. If I need to be found, if you can't find me where I'm going to be at. So as y'all know, I have 3 podcasts. A lot of things are going to be canceling the show, ending the show right now. Eventually, with 3 podcasts, I was eventually going to have to, in my mind, just choose 2, right? If y'all know that Let's Be Real is what this is a spinoff of Let's Be Real. We started Let's Be Real Media and all the different podcasts, right? Eventually, it's kind of going to come down between Let's Tighten Up and Let's Be Real, especially with us having I'm also the host of the Grizzly Bear Blues, starting 5 podcasts that we, me and the guys from here, Let's Be Real started. And also with that podcast or that network, Grizzly Bear Blues, I am now a writer for it. And I have started to write more blogs for Let's Be Real and just my own little portfolio. So I pretty much was going to have to come to a decision. And honestly, with the Titans podcast, just a lot of factors went into it. A lot of different Titans. I'm going to go down the list of other Titans, YouTubers, and podcasters to listen to. And also, I'm kind of going to extend Let's Be Real. What I'm going to do is, right now it's us and it's me and the guys every Saturday, starting to be a little bit more bi-weekly now. We probably do weekly back-to-back sometimes, but just to fit all our schedules more often, we're probably gonna start going bi-week because just life has happened with all of us, having kids, getting married, everything. So our time together is kind of coming less and less, but we're still gonna keep rolling with the podcast. So what I need to do with Let's Tighten Up was it just became increasingly harder and harder for me to, all right, let me get prepared for this show. Then get prepared for this show. Let me get prepared for this show. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start hosting like it's not necessary. I don't know. I still not sure if I'm going to do like, it's still going to be continuation episodes throughout the weeks. But basically, Let's Be Real is going to replace Let's Tighten Up. And instead of just doing Let's Be Real every Saturday, every other Saturday with the guys, I would still do that along with doing like a weekly or a bi-weekly segment on Let's Be Real, keeping up with any breaking news or the hot topics coming up, and also still talking about the Titans. So what's really is going to happen is I'm not going to have a podcast dedicated to the Titans, but I still will be talking about the Titans. I'll just talk about them more on Let's Be Real, but it'll still kind of be the same format. It's not going to be surrounded by the Titans. Basically, I'm giving myself more room to talk about other sports outside of just talking about it with the guys every week or every other week. Especially trying to keep up everything. Especially going about weekly, and it's just gonna be hard to keep up everything. So just keeping Let's Be Real rolling, and really it's just become increasingly harder just to try and just handle all 3 podcasts. And that's a real decision I came up with. Also, Titans content. It seems like every year is gonna be a break. A lot of stuff I just don't care enough to talk about during the off season. Off season is always gonna be like a break. As it is for most Titan YouTubers and podcasters, but we have so much Titans content. And honestly, if you want to hear my opinion, it just follow me. Let's Be Real. I'm still gonna talk more about Titans. Part of the reason I started Let's Tighten Up was because we didn't talk about it enough on Let's Be Real. On the regular shows with all of us, because we're talking about all sports. So what I'm doing is making it more, making it just more internal while I'm talking more about them. Hold on, let me give me a second. Okay, there we go. I know it's like my voice and everything was going off with the virtual background was throwing everything up with my internet. So yeah, that's really the main reasons. It was hard. I mean, it's not like it wasn't an easy decision. And like I said, I'm still gonna keep the stuff up that I've done, keep that in archives. I'm still gonna talk Titans. I might plan to host some Twitter spaces during the season. So just be prepared, like Titans fans, if you did, the ones who did follow me, the ones who did tune in. Almost every episode, I'm still here. Like most of the people I know, just one person I know for a fact to tune in to everything. Ryan Harris, he tunes in to us. Let's be real. So uh, y'all know where I'm at. So I always promote Let's Be Real. Let's Be Real is the reason Let's Tighten Up even became a thought, right? So that's what happens. But I did want to give special shout outs to all the guests I've had on over the last 2 years. So I started this in November 2020. It is now July 2022. So yeah, let me just go and get all the relevant list of guests. I got a whole page of them. And kind of give a background to everybody like I've connected with. So first up, man, kind of going in order from the guests that came on the episode. So Dominique Jackson, my guy, Dom Diddy on Twitter, man. Like me, I mean, known him since college. We were flag football teammates, won the flag football championship. Um, Self-explanatory. He was on 7 episodes. As a matter of fact, he was kind of like my recurring guest that might as well have been a co-host at the point. But yeah, my guy Dom, man, it was always fun times to have him on. Always good stuff to talk over with him. My guy T-Time, Terrence Taylor, once again, another flag football teammate, not with Dom, but we played after I graduated college. That's why I met him. We were a dynamic duo at wide receiver in flag football. So that's my guy. Once again, Titans fan, kind of knows his stuff, man. Knows his stuff with sports. Good follow. And I didn't get everybody's Twitter follow, but hey, I'm actually what I'm going to do for the ones who follow me on Twitter. When I post this episode, I'm going to tag everyone that I mentioned. Right. So everyone's gonna be like in a thread. Like I'm gonna tag them. So follow them on Twitter. You can follow them on Twitter from the tags from when I actually post this episode on Twitter for the ones who are on Twitter. And for ones who are not on Twitter, I might come back and post it in the what I'll probably do is kind of post it in the description anyway. Especially I think I definitely going to do like the Titans, other Titans YouTubers and podcasters follow. I would definitely put them in probably the description of this episode as well. But to move forward, all my LBR guys, I've had all 5 of them on. Tev, Savage, Sheedy, Skylar, and Trevor. Had Skylar and Trevor on the Steelers episode, previewing the Steelers game as their Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Had Tev and Savage on. I think it was something to do with the Cleveland. When we played the Cleveland Browns, 2 seasons ago, we played them. So I had them both on because they both were big Baker Mayfield fans. Yeah, that's funny. Now I think about that, where Baker Mayfield is at now. So, and Sheedy had him on for the Cincinnati Bengals episode preview for the playoff game. We all know the playoff game. What happened? He's from Ohio. He's a Cowboys fan, but also one of my co-hosts for LBR. And all the guys are just named for LBR. Those are my co-hosts as well. Sep Savage for the Grizzlies podcast, a starting 5 for SB Nation, Grizzly Bear Blues blog for the Memphis Grizzlies. So you can always check us out. Once again, if you subscribe to Let's Be Real, you can check all of us out. Like I said, I'll still do some Titans stuff, and on the titles, it'll say Titans, so you'll know. If you subscribe and hit the notification, you'll know. And probably what I do is most of the Titans fans who tuned in, Let's Tighten Up, when I post those episodes, I would tag Titans fans in those episodes. So when I tag people on the pictures on Twitter, it's specifically, I know, okay, this topic, these people are probably going to, interested in this. And this topic, these people are interested in that. So that's how I separate it out. Keep going. My guy Darius Haywood, once again, along with Dominique Jackson, flag football teammate. We all won a championship together in University of Memphis my sophomore year back in 2011. And he was great as well. My guy Rod, his Twitter handle used to be Kung Fu Roddy. I think he changed it now. I know he's real cool with Dominique and Darius. I had just met him kind of through Twitter. He went to University of Memphis as well. He was a good get. Had him on. I used to normally like what they talk about on Twitter and how they talk about the Titans. My guy Chris Newell on Titans and Truth. He was actually the one who inspired me. I had met him, but just watch him. He was the first Titans podcast that I saw outside of like the bigger ones like Book Rising, like the regular like YouTubers, everything. He was the first person that I kind of followed and tuned in, and watching him kind of made me start Let's Tighten Up. It was like, okay, I do want to talk about the Titans more. Let me start Let's Tighten Up. And coming from that introduced me to a whole lot more Titans fans in the process, man. So shout out to Chris Newell. He's also from Memphis. We both Memphians. And I was on his show twice as well. So when I first kind of started, he got me on his draft show. And then I brought on my show last year for our Memphis versus Nashville episode. Since we're both from Memphis, I forgot what happened with Twitter beef. Memphis, Nashville, beefing cities, of course, and Titans got a lot to do with it, with the whole moving here and then moving to Nashville, whole ordeal. But that's my guy, man. Remember to follow him on Titans and Truth, and I definitely list him in my last list of Titans YouTubers. Coach Antoine Bourne, Coach Bourne on Twitter. Coach out in Yazoo City, Yazoo County in Mississippi. Really good follow, really good. Knew his stuff. Like I said, he's coach. I think he was OC, offensive coordinator, or quarterbacks coach at Yazoo County, and he's actually a cousin. He was a cousin of Steve McNair's as well. So my favorite all-time player. So great to have him on. Had him on twice. Had him on with Dominique Jackson the second time. So definitely Coach Bourne, definitely a great get. And I was saying it really started with Coach Bourne. It really started with Rod. They were kind of like the first guest that people I didn't know personally that I invited on the show. Everybody else before that, to that point, had been people I had met before. Then my guy Chris Lewis, he's an Indianapolis Colts fan. At that time, I was trying to get people on whoever we played. I was trying to get people like I did with Sheedy, Cincinnati Bengals. He's not a fan of him, but he's from Ohio. I was trying to get people who had some type of connection, who they're a fan of a team, they're from their city, things like that. Chris Lewis, Drop Balls podcast. Be sure to check him out. His podcast is a really great podcast. It's not just Colts centric for the Titans fans who know he Colts fans, but he's a really good get, really good follow. Guy I got real close with on Twitter. Actually met him on Twitter like throughout, I think probably a month before I asked him on the show. So now a lot of these people, it was kind of me breaking out my shell, kind of proving myself I can do a show just by myself instead of with 4 other co-hosts, and really kind of just pulling it off. And he was one of the first people that I kind of invited on that was like trying to break me out of my shell to talk with other people and other people that I'm not just comfortable with. And man, he was a really good get. Had him on twice. And after him, Mike Patton. Mike Patton has really inspired me to keep going in podcasting. So although I'm dropping this podcast, I'm not dropping podcasting. It's sometimes you start doing a little bit too much, or you just get tired, or you just get a little fatigued, and at some point you just got to condense it. And hey, exactly what I'm doing. But Mike was a real big he's from Nashville. He's not necessarily a Titans fan, but he likes the Titans. I don't think he doesn't dislike them or anything. He's a 49ers, grew up a 49ers fan. Really good get. He has the show touring the AFC South. He covers all AFC South teams. And now he's actually working he's actually like in the media some with the Titans. Actually got to go to some practices and interviews and players and stuff. So I'm very proud of him. Just happy everything he's doing, and just like glad that I was connected with him and everything he's inspired me to do. Me starting to write more, writing for Grizzly Bear Blues, writing more period for my own personal gain came from him. He was the main person who was in my ear saying, "Hey, you need to start writing. You need to start writing." There, look at me now. So man, shout out to Mike Patton. Had him and Chris on a joint episode together for their second time they were on. Ryan Harris, really good guy that I met, Memphian as well. I think I met first time I seen him was on Mr. Titans 1 year anniversary show. He was just a really good, like I could tell he knew what he was talking about. He eventually started the jump pass to get more kind of like how I did. He was on another podcast. I forgot. And I can't think of the show right now on the Say It Again network. Then he ventured out and got his own podcast to talk strictly Titans, kind of like what I did with Let's Be Real. I never left Let's Be Real because it's my podcast, but kind of like what I did, Let's Tighten Up, man. Like strictly talk Titans, but man, really good get, man. Had him on twice. I was on his show. Really good. Like I said, he definitely checks us out. Let's Be Real, so he can definitely vouch for us that we can put out good material if you need somebody to hear a word from about us. Also, Mike Patton, he checks us out as well quite often. So like I said, shout out to Ryan, man, really good guy. Can't wait to actually meet some of these people who I might meet soon, especially us being in the same area and everything, meet in person. Ian TZ actually did meet him. He's from Jackson. He's actually in the Bay Area, lives in the Bay Area now. Met him when I went to the Rams game last year, and that's the episode I got him on. leading up to the game. I got him on the week before to preview the game. Had him on that show. My other guy, Melvin Purdy, who we had on Let's Be Real, not childhood friend, high school friend, Melvin Purdy is had him on Let's Be Real as well a couple years ago. But I had Ian, go back to Ian. Ian, really good guy. Met him. He knows his stuff, man. Knows about the Titans. Everybody I've had on can speak right well about the Titans. Not just the overreactionary fans. These are people that actually can talk sports and actually have a good conversation with. I also had Ian on recently over one of my last couple episodes. He's Golden State Warriors fan, so he's celebrating NBA title right now. Had him on. We talking Titans, but kind of mixing NBA with it. I think the Grizzlies and the Warriors played that series. I'm a Grizzlies fan, so we had that little battle also. That was this is the last one. That was episode 40 actually. So if you want to see anything about Ian, go back to that. I already spoke about my guy Melvin, man. Great get. He was a Rams fan, so that's part of the reason I had him on that show for him to speak about the Rams. My guy Damian Adams had him on the week after. He was a New Orleans Saints. He's a New Orleans Saints fan. Great get. One of the guys who's also inspired me, him along with Chris, Mike, Ryan, all of us kind of motivating each other, kind of give me to keep going with podcasting, period. His podcast, great podcast, The Real Deal with Damian Adams, and a 3rd and 3 podcast he has with his co-hosts, Jason Fearman and Nikki Jess there. I mean, great work, man. Follow, man. Those are some great podcasts to listen to. They definitely get me to step my game up. I'm pretty sure kind of the same, vice versa. So Damian was a great get for that Saints game. Zach Reed, a great friend on Twitter. Grizzlies, he's from Memphis, Grizzlies fan. He's not a Titans fan. I had him on the Patriots week. He's a Patriots fan. He's a great guest to have on that week, man. Good follow on Twitter. He's always used to when we do Twitter spaces, he'll pop up and he be one of the speakers in our spaces for our Let's Be Real spaces. Sean Calderon, yes, Sean, man. Also, along with Mike, kind of inspired me to write. Meeting Sean and seeing him and I used to love reading his articles and stuff I seen on Bleacher Report that he's done for Music City Miracles. Oh, not Music Miracles, Broadway Media, Broadway Sports. So Sean, he was a great guest. I wish could have had him on again. I was planning to get him on again. Wasn't able to happen schedules wise, but man, he's definitely a great follow on Twitter. One of the first followers, Titans people that I followed when I got back on Twitter, and he's just, man, he knows his stuff. Great draft analysis. A person that I really kind of looked into, like when I'm not looking at film all these prospects. So he's a person I really looked into. It's like, okay, he know this, he know that. Also, at the time I had him on, and probably why I got quiet in the beginning, just thinking about Young Dolph, Memphis rapper who got killed in Memphis in December. Sean, I had him on around that time. He's a huge Young Dolph fan. That was his favorite rapper. So it was kind of just sad moments at that time. But man, shout out to Sean, man. That's a good person to follow on Twitter as well. Diddy Simpson, y'all know him. A lot of y'all probably know him. He's pretty big on Titans Twitter. He gonna speak his mind. He's a good follow. He's a person that's gonna say stuff that probably nobody else agree with, don't like. But man, you can't deny what he knows. And I definitely commend him for speaking his mind. I brought him on the Steelers episode because he lives in Pittsburgh, so he was the same thing. I had him along with my guy Skylar and Trevor from Let's Be Real. Those were Steelers fans. I had Diddy, who lives in Pittsburgh, but he's a Titans fan, so kind of just had the best of all worlds on that episode. So great get. Darren from Fat Boy Fadeaway, man, had him on the San Francisco 49ers episode. His co-host, he's from the Bay Area. His co-host is a 49ers fan, but Darren is a Raiders fan. But his co-host Tyler couldn't make it on, so I got Darren to come in to talk on behalf of the 49ers since he lives in the area, so he knows a lot about the 49ers. Great follow, man. Follow their podcast at Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports. We definitely link a lot with them, but let's be real. One of the podcasts who just they're really good guys. Him and his co-host Tyler and his brother Casey, they're really good. So really follow Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports. Titans Rossi, as y'all already know, Titans Twitter. Titans, he's starting to get a little bit more bigger. So man, shout out to Titans Rossi. He started his show about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago. Probably towards around the same. We kind of started. Yeah, it was last year. It had to be like mid last year. So it's been about a little bit over a year. He's grew exponentially. um, Proud of him. Good job. Good guy. Good follow. Glad to have him on my show. Glad to be on his show as well. I was on his show, I think, after the first game of the season. Was supposed to meet him in that first game, but I didn't get to the stadium in time. I drove from Memphis, rode with a friend from Memphis, and we left a little later than we were supposed to. So made it to the game a little later than to get a chance to actually meet him in person. But pretty sure I get to meet him soon. So shout out to Titans Rossi. Be sure to follow him and everything they do with the Titan Upload Network. Michael Bishop at the Power Hour. Definitely really good, close Titans friend, man. Definitely proud of him. He's actually hitting his 1 year anniversary. He's doing his 1 year anniversary episode tonight. I'm recording this episode on July the 4th, and he's doing his 1 year anniversary episode on July the 4th. So great follow. That's a person who now he's grinding his way up, man. Like, I am very proud of him. He was one of the first people who asked me to be on his podcast as a guest. I think I was on his show. I won't say Fat Boy Fadeaway, guys. I was on their show. It was Michael Bishop, Power Hour. That was the first show I was a guest on. Because when I was on Fat Boy Fadeaway, that was after the Buffalo Bills game. So yeah, I think I was on his show right before the season started. He just started the podcast about a month or two before that. So y'all don't follow him. Y'all need to. He's on his way up. That's all I can say on him. His creativity with his content is definitely something to look at, and definitely motivation for stuff I do. So man, shout out to Power Hour. Definitely check him out. Brandon Galloway, Titans fan of the year this past year. Man, great guest. That was one of the episodes. Got a lot of gems dropped. He's from Memphis. We're both Memphians. He both went to University of Memphis around the same time, as a matter of fact. Didn't cross paths, but great to finally meet him virtually. But got to meet him actually. I mean, we was in LA at the same time, but like I said, just there as cross paths. So can't wait to actually probably will get a chance to meet him at some point. So they say a lot of things. The reason I created this podcast was to meet a lot of great Titans meet a lot of great Titans fans, and he's definitely one of them. I was glad to get him on. Cuzzo Mike had him on, man. Like I said, he's part of the reason I am going to keep the archive of the episodes up. My current logo is him. He created this logo. And man, he was a great guest. He was, like I said, one of these just authentic people is going to keep it real about the team, keep it real. Titans fan, but through and through. I think he's from Cleveland. Kept it 100. Offered to create me a new logo, and I love the logo. Like, that logo's super fresh. He did a really great job. So definitely, if y'all want to follow him, it's Tighten Up Mike on Twitter. Man, great follow, man. He's man, really good guy, man. Just connecting with the Titans fan base. Two-Tone Blueski. I think his Twitter is Titans Boy 88. Like I said, I'm tagging all these people later, but he was on the same episode. Great guy, same thing, know his stuff. These were two people who asked me about coming on the show. Because most guests I've reached out to. These are two guys who reached out to me, and they reached out to me, like I said, months. I said on the episode months before, and I was like, I'm gonna reach out to get them guys on. I remember, I got you marked down. Came back, reached out to them. Hey, y'all ready to come on? They're ready to go. So man, great getting those guys. Had them on after the disappointing loss to the Bengals. But yeah, really good guys. Definitely check them out. C Wood, check out his podcast, Ball About the South. Same thing, kind of what he's doing is kind of what I'm about to do. But let's be real, in the sense that Let's Be Real is already that. But when I do like my own little weekly thing, it's kind of what he's doing. He's a Titans fan, but his podcast is really centered around SEC, but it's kind of all sports, because he's talking basketball. He's a Houston Rockets fan and everything. So he's from Birmingham. So I'm kind of going to be doing what he's doing while I'm talking about a lot of other sports, but I am going to talk about the Titans as well. But it's not going to be just on Let's Be Real with all the guys, where it's very limited. We're probably talking about the Titans only when they're relevant in the national media news. Otherwise, I'm actually talking about them a little more in depth on some regular episodes. But see, Wood, great follow, great podcast. We're good guests. Ain't nothing more I can say, man. Just check out his stuff. Ball About the South, really good podcast. Had Titans fan of the year this year. So I don't know if I'm mistakenly said Brandon Galloway's fan this year. He was fan of the year last year, and actually won the whole NFL fan of the year. Stephanie Perkins, y'all know her. I think she was the first woman I had on my show. Great guest. Man, she knows the stuff. That's she was well deserving of the Titans fan of the year. Everything she's done with latest to Titans Twitter. Definitely a fan of hers. Glad that I got to interact with her. And y'all know our follower, you should be Yeah, simple as that. So man, great get. Some of the these guests I've just had on have been like very well rounded. I'm just proud that I actually got to have them on. And last guest, man, Derek Young, had him on the very last episode before this one. Had him on. He's a Boston Celtics fan. I'm a Jimmy Butler fan. That's my favorite player, Jimmy Butler in basketball. So Boston and Miami played against each other. So talked about the Titans and kind of had to get into the NBA topics on that one as well. So Derek Young, I think Mr. Doug something. What's his Twitter? Like I said, everybody's gonna be tagged. So you can follow Twitter, but great follow on Twitter, great guy. He also reached out to me about getting on the show long before, and definitely had to get him on. He was one of the people who always supported when I did post the show. He was one of the main people who retweeted, even if he couldn't catch it right there live. He'd be like, "Hey, I ain't gonna be able to watch it now, but I'm gonna watch it later," and kept shouting me out and giving me retweets and everything. So shout out to him and shout out to all the guests once again. All y'all made this show what it was. Kind of like I said, it's bittersweet. Like ending it, man. Like I came along where I really grew, and all y'all was part of my growth. Just I started, let's be real, long time ago. Actually quit it because people, my co-hosts I had couldn't make it as often as when we were doing stuff in person. We down on the virtual stuff. I was doing a podcast by myself. I was bored, didn't like it, so I quit. Restarted. Let's be real with the group of guys. All these guys, my friends, that we started up and we continued with it. And Let's Tighten Up was kind of me getting back to I can't do a podcast by myself, but I want to do it with guests, right? And I've done some episodes by myself. I had some episodes where I probably didn't sound as confident because I was probably down at the time, probably thinking nobody's watching the show. I have plenty of episodes where I was pretty good and I had guests on, and so it's been a real growth in myself, and I'm still gonna continue with it. I knew I still want to do something by myself, and that's the plan with Let's Be Real, kind of just extending it out, making Let's Be Real as big as possible, and still continuing with everything I want to talk about. That includes the Titans as well. So thank all y'all for coming on. Thank everybody who's tuned in. Just can't thank you for the love that I received. Getting to 100, even getting to 100 subscribers, it's small on YouTube. Getting to 100 subscribers, it's small, but it was something that I'm not gonna say I didn't foresee, but it's just I celebrate the small accomplishments. Creating a Twitter page, I already deleted Twitter page, but and y'all know that about a month ago. When I deleted the Twitter page, I didn't plan on canceling this show at the time. So this really has just been ongoing thought processes. But Twitter page was just condensing. I got fatigue handling like 5 different Twitter pages, so all the podcasts, my personal page, and and this. So it was literally 5 pages. That I was condensing down to 3. Really, one is 3 pages now and starting 5. And Let's Be Real still got its own. Let's Be Real Media still got their own, but I'm really just focused on my page and posting everything from my page. So I did get to 1,000, up to about 1,100 followers on Twitter. Didn't foresee that, so it let me know like Titans fans will rally and follow their own. And just I am gracious and definitely appreciate all y'all who did tune in and check me out. And for those who may be disappointed down leaving, like I said, I'm being Let's Be Real. Just man, subscribe to us over there. Everything will be in the description. Let's Be Real podcast on YouTube. Let's Be Real podcast on any podcast platform. But before I end off, Justin Tice YouTubers that I definitely think that y'all, if y'all are not following them, y'all should be following them. They'll give you some great Titans content as well. And some of these have been on my show, some of them have been on their show. But to go down the list, Titan Upload, Titan Upload Network. He was actually one of the first people when I first started Let's Tighten Up. He was one of the first people who subscribed to the show. Hit me up like, "Oh yeah, I'm subscribing. Titans fan, let's go." Titans Rossi, great. Like I said, I had him on. I was on his show. Great follow. Power Hour, I already mentioned him. Titans and True, same thing. Great connections. Tennessee Titans Weekly, great guys. Really good. They really good dynamic duo with Hawk and Jock on there. Check them out. All these I'm speaking now is pretty much strictly YouTubers. Mr. Titan, man, great get, man. he gets some guests. Former players. I'm actually gonna be at his event in September. So anybody who's out there, man, we'd love to meet you. So I'm planning to come to his event this September at the I can't think of the place name right now, but definitely I'll be posting in my Twitter account, promoting it, helping him out. But I used to be on. He used to host some Twitter Spaces last year. I used to be tuned in a lot, be one of the speakers. So man, Mr. Titan, great guy. Ty Anderson, another Golden State Warriors fan / Titans fan. So along with Ian, they have been celebrating Golden State Warriors games. So man, following him, man, great content. Two Tone Zone was the guy who encouraged me to keep going last year when I was kind of down, who I didn't know hadn't met him, and he reached out to me on Twitter, and he's been one of the great people following me. So check him out on YouTube as well. Two Tone Zone. Bryce Pratt, one of the Titans big super fans, Titans fans on Twitter. Y'all see him. He's been on Power Hour Show. He was on Power Hour Show with me. Really good follow, man. Be sure to check out his YouTube page as well. Turnpike Titans, they have YouTube and podcast, kind of like my show. So check those guys out. Titans Therapy, newer podcast. Great guys, great show. I love that format. Very, very therapeutic, and it goes along with the name. So really good get. Really good follow. So definitely check those guys out. 615 Podcast, Lee Hillis. I was on his show recently for the draft. He know how to break down some prospects. Follow his show. He's same thing, YouTube and podcast. He know how to break down some prospects. K More Sports, YouTube. I think he's an announcer or a commentator for some games and everything. Lives in Houston. He's a really good follow. He's normally on Titans and Truth show and a lot of different things I've seen him do. So definitely Ken Moore, his YouTube is K More Sports. And Titans Time Podcast, I was on his podcast recently as well. Going to the draft, I want to say the last mock draft before the draft. So really good follow. He has a podcast, YouTube and podcast network. So definitely check him out. And for the actual just podcast on this, not on YouTube, like I said, Jump Pass with Ryan Harris. Great follow, my guy. Definitely check him out in the podcast network. Ball About the South, like I said, with C Wood, kind of like what I'm gonna be doing. He does that. He's Titans fan. All his shows are not Titans centric. So, but if you like other sports and like I say, just subscribe to him anyway. So when he does talk about Titans, you're there to listen to him talk about the Titans. But if you like other sports, he's talking a lot about other sports as well. Talking Two Tone is another show I listen to. Very good guys, man. Really good show. I love the format. And the Elite Titans Pod from Canadian Titan from Twitter. I always seem to be trolling people, but the content, the podcast is good content. So those are guys to follow, man. It's been real, y'all. I love everything that I've done. I have no regrets. I think this podcast was successful for what it became, and I'm very excited about my future and with everything else I'm about to be doing. But let's be real. Just say y'all support, come subscribe. Let's be real on any podcast platform, YouTube. That's where I be at. Know me on Twitter, the1DAONE_P Shark. And anything my link tree is my Twitter bio. It will be in this description of this episode. I'm not going anywhere. This podcast might be gone, but I'm not going anywhere. So for the final time, and I'm not gonna say it's forever, but for the final time for now, for this podcast, let's tighten up.